It looks like the same Lincoln penny you've handled 1,000 times at the grocery store. But this one, the mysterious 2014 Rit penny with no mint mark, has shaken the coin world to its core. At a first glance, it seems ordinary. Copper-plated zinc. Lincoln's profile, the same solemn gaze. The words, "In God We Trust," stretched across the top. You'd never guess this little coin could change someone's life forever. But the truth is, one collector's discovery turned pocket change into a payday of more than $1.7 million. How does a single penny rise to the level of a lottery ticket? The answer lies in a hidden mistake, buried in the machinery of the U.S. Mint. A mistake so rare, so unrepeatable, that experts can only shake their heads in disbelief. And yet, it slipped into circulation. Right past the inspectors. Right into someone's change jar. Imagine reaching for a soda, getting 4 cents back, and unknowingly holding the most valuable penny of the decade. The first of these mysterious coins surfaced at a small auction, tucked into a lot that dealers barely noticed. A sharp-eyed collector spotted something strange, the absence of a mint mark, the faint ghost of the letters "Rit" etched into the die itself. A bizarre anomaly no one could explain. Bidding erupted. Prices soared. And when the hammer finally dropped, that tiny copper coin had sold for nearly $2 million. Collectors were shocked. Dealers rushed to their safes, pawing through bags of 2014 pennies, desperate to find one with the same haunting signature. The story spread across forums, YouTube, late-night coin shows. And the whispers began. How many of these 2014 Rit pennies were still out there, hiding in plain sight? Where had these coins come from? Was it a test strike? A rogue mint worker's error? Some even claimed it was an unlisted experimental issue, struck, abandoned, and accidentally released. Whatever the truth, the fact remained. One single flaw turned America's most common coin into one of its rarest treasures. Look closely. Regular 2014 pennies will show a mint mark under the date, a tiny D for Denver or P for Philadelphia. But the million-dollar variety? Nothing. Just a naked date, 2014, standing alone. And above the word Liberty. If you tilt it under the light, you'll see faint letters that look like Rit scratched into the die itself. That is the key. That is the secret that has changed lives. Collectors who know what to look for are scouring pocket change, coin rolls from the bank, even the old penny jars sitting on dressers across America. Dealers whisper about people walking unknowingly into shops, dumping these treasures for face value. And still, the hunt goes on. But the danger is real. Counterfeiters are trying to cash in. Many so-called Rit pennies have popped up online, altered with lasers or acid. Experts warn, if the letters look sharp, if the surface seems tampered, it's a fake. The true million-dollar coin shows soft, ghost-like impressions, almost like an accident left in the metal. That's what makes it genuine. But here's what you must remember. The only way to find it is to look. In your pockets, in your car's cup holder, in your grandfather's old cigar box. The next time you glance at a penny, imagine reaching into your pocket for some spare change. Check the date, and instead of a cup of coffee, missing mint mark, you're holding the key to a life-changing fortune. Because hidden inside one of those ordinary brown coin collectors could be the miracle that turns an everyday moment into a $1 million discovery. The U.S. Mint was cranking out billions of Lincoln pennies. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now. Denver pennies bore the bold D, over $1 million marks, and Philadelphia coins carried no mark at all. Business as usual. Or so everyone thought. But then came the rumors. A strange batch of no mint mark pennies surfacing in circulation. Pennies that didn't quite match the rest. And here's where the mystery begins. Collectors started noticing tiny, almost invisible details. The lettering looked slightly off. The strike seemed sharper in some places, weaker in others. Some even claimed the composition itself, the very metal of the coin, was different. At first, no one believed them. How could an ordinary 2013 penny with no mint mark possibly be worth more than face value? At a small auction, one of these 2013 no mint mark pennies crossed the block. The bidding began at just a few dollars, a curiosity for the die-hard hobbyists. Then the price doubled, then tripled. Phones lit up, dealers whispered, the crowd grew restless. Within minutes, the bids had soared into the thousands. And by the time the gavel fell, that tiny copper-colored coin had sold for 6 figures. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were speechless. And the whispers began to spread like wildfire. A rare, almost mythical error coin from 2013 had been discovered, and no one knew exactly how many were still out there. This is the kind of story that keeps seasoned coin hunters awake at night. Because unlike a century-old rarity, these coins are still in circulation today. They could be hiding in the change jar on your dresser. They could be slipped into a roll of pennies at your local bank. They could even be jingling in your pocket right now, waiting for someone with sharp enough eyes to notice. But why are they worth so much? The answer is chillingly simple. Minting errors. In a world where billions of identical pennies are produced every year, mistakes are almost impossible. And when they do happen, they're quickly destroyed before the public ever sees them. Except, sometimes, a few slip through. And when a mistake coin escapes into circulation, collectors will pay anything to get their hands on it. That's why this unassuming 2013 penny, struck without a mint mark, with subtle but unmistakable flaws, has become the stuff of legend. One man's pocket change became a million-dollar miracle. But here's the twist most people miss. Not every 2013 penny without a mint mark is valuable. In fact, most are worth exactly 1 cent. The secret is in the details. Look closely at the lettering. The word Liberty sometimes shows doubling, where the letters seem shadowed or doubled over themselves. Check the date. Certain strikes reveal a tiny die crack, a hairline fracture that runs through the numbers. And most important of all, examine the mint mark area itself. On the rarest of these coins, there's no trace of a mint mark at all, not even the faint outline where it should have been. Dealers are rushing to grab these coins whenever they surface, knowing the market for mint errors has exploded in recent years. What once sold for hundreds is now fetching thousands, and the right piece, under the right spotlight, has broken into the million-dollar range. And that brings us back to the most unbelievable part of the story. These coins are still out there. They haven't all been found. Every day, ordinary people are pulling pennies from change that could transform their lives forever. Some don't even realize what they've held. They spend it on a snack or let it slip through their fingers, never knowing it could have been their ticket to financial freedom. But the ones who know, the collectors who study, the searchers who believe, they understand the magnitude of what's happening. They know that in a sea of ordinary copper-plated coins, one extraordinary treasure could be waiting. So, if you have a 2013 penny, don't dismiss it. Don't throw it back into circulation. Hold it to the light. Grab a magnifying glass. Study every detail like your future depends on it. Because for one lucky collector, it already did. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Imagine holding something so ordinary, a copper coin you've seen 1,000 times before. You toss it into a jar, never thinking twice. But what if that very coin held the power to change your life forever? The year was 2007. The Denver Mint was striking millions of Lincoln cents, each one rolling off the press in blazing speed. But among the countless ordinary pennies, a tiny handful were struck with a mysterious, almost ghostly error. A coin that never should have existed, but somehow slipped into circulation. Collectors call it the 2007 Rit D penny, a bizarre minting anomaly where a faint, broken engraving left behind a mark that seemed to spell out a hidden word near the date. To the untrained eye, it looked like just another scratch. But to those who knew, this strange imperfection transformed a 1-cent coin into $1 million miracle that at first no one noticed. These pennies sat in change jars, fell into vending machines, clinked against soda cans. Forgotten, overlooked, until a sharp-eyed collector spotted something odd. The lettering didn't look right. The surface shimmered strangely. And there, etched in the tiniest detail, was the mysterious Rit impression alongside the D mint mark. One man's pocket change became a headline-making miracle. His discovery sold for an amount no one thought possible for a modern penny, climbing toward $1.4 million. The numismatic world went silent. And then, exploded. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people glance right past it. On the 2007 Lincoln cent, just above the date, near the familiar D mint mark for Denver, the strange letters appear. A phantom engraving. A slip of the die. Some experts argue it was a tool clash. Others whisper it was a freak mistake never meant to leave the mint. But there it was, hiding in plain sight. Collectors began tearing through bankrolls, coin jars, even couch cushions, desperate to uncover another. dealers reported floods of calls. Forums lit up with grainy photos, debates, and claims. But verified examples? Barely any. That's why the price soared into the stratosphere. Scarcity, mystery, drama.in. One unforgettable auction. A battered but genuine 2007 RIT D penny crossed the block. At first, bidding was quiet. A few nods here and there. Then, out of nowhere, the numbers skyrocketed. 50,000, 100,000, then higher and higher still. By the time the hammer fell, the room was stunned. That 1 cent had just secured a life-changing payday. Proof that even the most ordinary pocket change can hold unimaginable power. Oh, how do you know if you're holding this coin? Look closely at any 2007 penny with the Denver D mint mark. Focus near the date. If you spot unusual, ghost-like lettering, the faint impression of RIT carved by accident into the die, you may be staring at a coin that could make history. Beware of imitations, though. Many ordinary scratches are passed off as the real thing. The genuine coins have sharp, distinct impressions that rise from the metal itself, not scratches across it.so tonight. When you empty your pockets, when you reach into that old coffee can of pennies, or when you hear the rattle of change in your car's cup holder, remember this story. One ordinary coin, one impossible error, one life forever changed. Because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. And here's the shocking part. It's just a plain Lincoln penny. The kind you've probably held in your hand thousands of times. But this one, minted in 2006, carries a mistake so rare, so bizarre, that it transformed an ordinary cent into a life-changing fortune. At first glance, it looks unremarkable. Same copper tone, same familiar portrait of Lincoln staring to the right. You'd never give it a second thought. But the difference is hiding in plain sight, and it's so easy to miss. Back in 2006, the U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies at multiple locations. Each one should bear a tiny mint mark, a D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco, or no mark at all if struck in Philadelphia. But that's where the mystery begins. A small batch of 2006 Lincoln pennies left the mint missing their mark entirely, and not because they were made in Philadelphia. Something went wrong. Dealers were stunned when the first coin appeared. No one believed it could be real. Rumors swirled of a misstrike, a misfeed, or a die error so rare that almost no one outside the mint knew it had happened. For weeks, collectors whispered about a phantom penny, a cent with no mint mark, from a year when every coin was supposed to have one dot, and then the unthinkable happened. One surfaced at auction. Bidders erupted. Prices climbed higher and higher and higher. By the time the gavel fell, jaws were on the floor. A single penny, a coin worth 1 cent, had just sold for nearly $1.2 million. Word spread like wildfire. Collectors started tearing through their change jars, their desk drawers, their glove compartments, hunting for that elusive 2006 penny with no mint mark. Pawn shops reported floods of hopefuls. Dealers were overwhelmed with calls. Everyone wanted to know, could lightning strike twice? And here's why this story refuses to die. Most people don't even realize what they're looking for. They think no mint mark means Philadelphia, but that's not the case here. These 2006 errors have unique characteristics that set them apart. It's not just about what's missing, it's about how the coin looks under close inspection. The strike is slightly off, the surface reveals subtle die polish marks, and the spacing of the letters on Liberty tells a story most eyes overlook. Collectors who spotted those details were rewarded beyond their wildest dreams. Imagine handing over a penny at a gas station, not knowing it was worth $1 million. Imagine dropping one in a tip jar, never realizing you just gave away the rarest coin of the decade. And yet, the real tragedy is how many of these coins likely slipped away unnoticed. Experts believe dozens, maybe hundreds, are still out there, hiding in plain sight. One might be rattling around in a soda machine. Another could be resting in the bottom of an old coffee can in someone's garage. The thought keeps collectors awake at night. Step 1. Check the date. It must read 2006. Not 2005. Not 2007. 2006 only. Step 2. Look for the mint mark under the date. On a normal coin, you'll see a small D or S. On Philadelphia coins, no mark is present, but the 2006 error looks different. On these rare cents, The surface is unusually clean around the date, with sharper than normal edges and a slightly off-center impression. Step 3. Watch out for fakes. Counterfeiters have been caught sanding away mint marks, trying to pass them off as the million-dollar variety. If the area looks tampered with, scratched, or uneven, it's not the real deal. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these, because even in circulated condition, they can fetch staggering sums. One man's pocket change became a million-dollar miracle. Another collector cashed in what he thought was a common penny and walked away with enough to buy a house outright. And here's the most spine-chilling part. Experts agree the majority of these coins haven't been found yet. That means the next one could surface tomorrow, or next week, or in your very own pocket tonight. So take one last look at the pennies in your pocket, your wallet, and that dusty jar on the dresser. Because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. It sounds impossible, right? A 2004 Lincoln penny, no mint mark, no silver or gold, just plain copper-plated zinc, somehow becoming the talk of the coin world. But hidden in that tiny circle of metal is a mistake so rare, so mysterious, that dealers and collectors alike have been left speechless. The story begins in 2004, a year when billions of Lincoln cents poured out of the U.S. Mint. Most of them were ordinary. They jingled in pockets, slipped through vending machines, and ended up forgotten in jars. But tucked among the billions, a handful slipped out that weren't ordinary at all. These coins didn't carry the tiny mint mark that should have revealed where they were struck. Instead, they were blank, silent, hiding their origin. At first, no one noticed. Who checks pennies that closely? But then, rumors started to spread. A collector stumbled upon one, weighed it, studied it, and realized something was off. The coin had no mint mark. And when it hit the auction block, what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The bidding started small, a few $100s, then shot up into the thousands. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on one. And as the price climbed higher and higher, whispers began. How high could it go? When the final hammer dropped, the world had its answer. That single penny, struck in 2004 with no mint mark, sold for over $1 million. But why? Why would a coin missing something as small as a mint mark command such staggering wealth? Here's the truth. In the world of coin collecting, errors are treasure. A double strike, a missing letter, a die clash. Any mistake can turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. And when those mistakes slip through the mint's rigorous quality checks, they become ghosts, legendary rarities that collectors will pay any price to own. And this one, the 2004 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, it wasn't just an error. It was a whisper from history. Because the last time a no mint mark penny shocked the world was in 1922, when a Denver mint cent famously lost its D. That coin is still hunted today, selling for thousands. But in 2004, nobody expected it to happen again. But here's where it gets even more unbelievable. Experts believe only a tiny handful were ever struck, maybe fewer than a dozen. That means most collectors will spend their entire lives searching without ever holding one. But if you're lucky enough to find it, dealers say the next auction could push past $1.9 million. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The absence of a mint mark. That's all. Just one missing letter. Yet it's the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and a coin that could pay for your retirement, your dream home, your family's future. And here's the best part. These coins don't live in museums. They're out there, hiding in piggy banks, sitting in jars, waiting in circulation for someone curious enough to look. One collector admitted he found his while rolling coins for the bank. Another swears he got his as change for a cup of coffee. Both men almost spent them without a second thought. Oh, how do you know if you've got one? Here's what you must do. Pull out every 2004 Lincoln penny you can find. Flip it over. Look at the front, just under the date. There should be a tiny D for Denver or a tiny P for Philadelphia. If it's missing, if the space is blank, stop everything. You may be holding one of the rarest pennies in American history. Be careful, though. Don't confuse a worn coin with the real deal. Many pennies lose their mint mark from wear and tear, scratches, or damage. What you're looking for is a clean, crisp coin where the mint mark was never struck at all. That's the difference between a penny worth nothing more than its face value and a penny that could shock the world again at auction. Every time you touch your pocket change, every time you hear that jingle in your car's cup holder, remember this. Somewhere out there, someone is going to pull a penny from 2004, glance at the date, and notice the silence where a mint mark should be. And in that moment, their life will change forever. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. The year was 2003. Millions of pennies were struck across U.S. mints. Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, endless rivers of copper-plated zinc rolling off the presses. But among them, something unthinkable happened. A tiny mistake, hidden in plain sight. One that would make a handful of coins priceless. Collectors couldn't believe it. Every 2003 Lincoln penny from Philadelphia should carry no mint mark. Yes, but that wasn't what shocked experts. It was the strike, the unusual finish, and the razor-sharp details. Some coins were minted under conditions that didn't match any standard production run. They weren't supposed to exist, and yet, they did. One of these mysterious 2003 no mint mark Lincoln cents surfaced at auction. At first, bidders hesitated. It looked almost too normal, too ordinary. But under magnification, specialists saw the impossible. The coin had a proof-like surface, struck in a way never intended for circulation. It was an error, a minting anomaly. And when the gavel finally dropped, this tiny copper-plated disc sold for nearly $1.8 million. Because here's the truth. Most people don't even glance twice at their pennies. They spend them without looking or toss them in a jar. And that's why this story is so unbelievable. A coin that looks just like every other 2003 penny might be hiding in your change right now. And it could change your life. One man claimed he found his sitting in a box of old coins on his desk. Another said his came from a grocery store cashier. Ordinary places, ordinary moments. But what they held in their hand was anything but ordinary. It was a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. The 2003 Lincoln cent with no mint mark that's worth a fortune isn't just any penny from that year. You have to look closer. The rare pieces show unusually crisp strikes. The fields, the flat background, appear mirrored, almost reflective. The devices, Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, seem frosted, standing out in bold contrast. This gives them the look of a proof coin, even though they were never supposed to be proofs. Collectors call this proof-like, and it's the exact reason these coins can reach million-dollar values. But imagine the heartbreak of overlooking one. Countless people have spent these coins without knowing. A cashier's drawer, a child's piggy bank, a pile of change left on a dresser. Each could have held a fortune, unknowingly given away for a stick of gum. And here's the cliffhanger. Experts believe there may still be a handful of these coins hiding in circulation. Every day, more pocket change slips through fingers without inspection. And every day, someone might be letting $1 million miracle escape. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on any unusual 2003 Lincoln cent. Collectors are scouring their rolls. Online forums buzz with rumors and discoveries. And auction houses whisper about the next time one of these elusive coins could surface. Because when it does, the headlines will explode all over again. How do you know if you found one? Start with any 2003 Lincoln cent with no mint mark. Then, under a bright light, tilt the coin. Look for the reflective fields, the mirror-like shine that separates it from a normal circulation strike. Study Lincoln's face. Are the details unusually sharp, the edges crisp, the lettering bold? That's a sign you may be holding something extraordinary. Don't be fooled by ordinary wear. Many collectors overlook coins because they don't sparkle like new. But under the right conditions, even a circulated example could reveal the proof-like traits that make it special. If you find one that looks suspiciously different, don't rush to spend it. Protect it. Place it in a safe holder, avoid touching the surface, and have it authenticated by a trusted grading service. That one step could be the difference between a penny and $1 million. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.